Hello, welcome. This video is on pain and suffering, and I don't always know what I'm gonna say, know where I'm gonna go, but this is an important message, and if you're here, well, you're here for a reason. I feel like frequently we want to hold on to I feel like we want to hold on to let me change. I feel like very frequently we want to hide in the darkness. We want to hide in the shadows. Very often, y'all hear me okay? I feel like very often we're afraid to come out in the open. We're afraid to do what we want to do, or we're afraid to do what we know we should do, or we feel we should do. We fear false evidence appearing real, and we let it hold us back. Thank you for joining. Happy Good Friday. Welcome here tonight. I feel weighed down, and bouncing back and forth over the waves that life comes with, like the ocean. It's just sometimes it's a turbulent ride. Please let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm sitting here with Valerie tonight, and I don't think either one of us ever really know exactly what we're going to say. I'm giving a lot of thought to ego and to responding with love, regardless of what. Hi, Carlos. Regardless of what I experience, I'm trying to find. Um, I'm trying to find how I can respond to it. I don't tell you what to think. I don't tell you what's right. I don't claim anything. I know nothing, you know? I I just share, I share from my heart. I share my experience. And honestly I feel like it's kind of vague sometimes. I mean I feel like I have gag orders from other people, and I can only share my story so much because some people aren't comfortable with their story being shared for whatever reason. And I think it's unfortunate. I think and I'm not speaking of every instance, but I'm speaking from for myself that I feel like too often we're hiding in the dark. We're not being courageous enough to face our authentic self. And I'm not Nighttime is the right time. What does that mean? Hi, Chris. Um, I feel like nighttime is in darkness. Yeah. I feel like it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to choose. We know in our heart what love says. We know in our heart what love is. There's a lot of miscommunication about love. Hi, Jonathan. A lot of misunderstanding about what love is. But when we really just get quiet and tune in, listen to Spirit. Spirit guides us. So often we can't hear because we're not listening. We're not tuned in. And we come from a place, and we come from our mind. We come from our thoughts. We start to latch onto our thoughts instead of letting them pass by. We're holding on to thoughts and giving them power. And we turn into Spirit, we know love, we connect with God. We become a direct expression of love based on how in tune we are with Spirit, how connected we are. It's a moment-to-moment thing, and it doesn't make any one of us any higher than another. We're all, we all are one. We all have the same capacity, the same. There's no difference. You are me, I am. And sticking with what we know, following through with it, what we honor in our heart, it's not always easy. It's difficult, because we are connected with others. We are connected to others. We are others. We're all one. And sometimes others aren't ready. And there's so many ways of looking at that. There's so many ways of understanding that. I think about those who sometimes have a hard time understanding, a hard time perceiving what I'm saying. And I'm trying to learn how to respond to a place of love. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge to determine the most loving course of action. Because every experience is a new experience. Every encounter with someone's a new encounter. I don't, in this moment, I've never had this perspective that I have in this moment before. You've never had the perspective you have in this moment before. And it's really not even a matter of a different person, It's just a matter of the fact that you don't know the perspectives that they have picked up from the experiences they've had in life. We all hurt, we all have pain. We all experience pain. I'm sure every one of us right now, if we stopped and thought about it, we're like, oh, yeah, I have this pain. And then some of us are here, I can't hardly stop thinking about the pain. And I'm no expert, but I'm reading this book, um, Ask and It Is Given, and it correlates well with my experience. Um, and I recognize that we tune into frequencies, and there's a frequency of love, there's a frequency of fear, there's a frequency for pain. They're all just frequencies, and we tune into that. And what we focus our attention on, we create more of. And we've believed a lie for a long time. And we can focus our attention on what we wish to create, what we wish to experience, the experience we wish to create to our wildest imagination. And we set ourselves in that course. We set ourselves in course for that action. But when we experience the lack of it, it's just that we haven't yet experienced it. We're on course. But if we focus on the lack of it, our direction changes. And our emotions guide us. Our emotions guide us. The uncomfortable emotions, the emotions we don't enjoy experiencing, are the emotions that make us aware that we are focusing on the lack of that which we wish to create. The emotions that make us feel good are recognizing that we are focusing on that which we wish to create. So every moment we have the choice to focus on what we want or the lack of what we want. We can use this to your advantage. You accept love, you open up to so much more. There's no one that we create its own by giving it. I'm not an expert on things, but I watch. I have my own experience with it, and I have my observations and what I understand from others. Did that? Nothing right now. I want to mention for a minute what we see is just mirrored to us. It's a reflection of what we project. kind of at a loss for words.
Kind of at a loss for words. What you're talking about, and different forms of dealing and projecting, but my main thing is that as someone who's dealt with immense amounts of pain, is that there's no reason that it has to control you, and I actually don't let it control me. And we also have to look inside of ourselves to see why we are going through the pain and the suffering. If it is something that is, within us that we need to, shed out, or, if it's like a deeper pain, because sometimes, like with the shedding, that type of pain feels completely different than like the pain that I have because I am, I'm sick. Um, Actually, with shedding the layers is probably more of an intense pain. It's an emotional pain. An emotional pain and suffering is probably by far worse than anything I've ever felt. Um, Learning to put the pain and suffering where it belongs is very difficult, and at times, if the pain is too much, it becomes overwhelming and it can take over. And then ego, of course, loves to step in at that time, and that's whenever the fear comes into play, and uh, fear and anguish, and then you start worrying about everything. But with me, I've realized that if the pain becomes overwhelming, then I go to a place within inside of me. I mean, and that's the same place that I made whenever I was a child. It's like the same, like you can just manifest a different realm, a different reality. You're kind of like something pretty much, and to calm it, to deal with it, to quiet it. Sometimes you can look at a person and not even realize that this person is in intense pain, because some people deal with it in such a graceful, beautiful way that it's almost impossible to discern that they're going through this type of hell. And like with mine, I mean, it gets overwhelming and unbearable. And days like today, whenever people can finally notice, or it is noticeable. But most of the time, it can be completely hid and dealt with in a level that to some will be excruciating, and to others, I take mine to a place of love. I mean, love, and kind of just succumb and let it go, and it normally does very well with numbing it. Today has not been the case at all, but normally I have no problems with being able to control it, or being able to come from a place of love with it, and I can normally push past it, so that way I can I can go come to my higher self. And at times, it's probably one of the most difficult things that I've ever had to do.
Talked about shedding. What were you referring to?
That's like previously, like shedding the layers, getting rid of all of the junk inside the soul is a good way to put it. Just cleansing, clearing, not adding to it. You're not uh, creating this extra weight upon yourself. And for quite some time after I shed all of the junk, then the rest of the pain was very easy to deal with and to contain. As right now, it's a little different, but day to day, it is what it is. And I smile through it, and I push through it, and I want to inspire others to be able to take the pain and suffering in their life and to rise above it and to be able to go to a better place, a place where they're not being consumed and overwhelmed, and a place where they feel love.
What do you think? What do you think pain has taught you?
Humility more than anything. To be humble in every situation. To definitely give others intense compassion and respect, because as well as I hide it, and as much as I can overcome it, I know that there are many that are probably in this same, you know, you have to be aware of how
Um, I think the way you choose to respond to it is truly the choice between life and death. I think that every moment, and we don't realize how significant it is, but every moment we choose what we create. And when you choose to feel good, focus your attention on feeling good, you change significantly. And then I know you hide so much of it. I know you hide it. So, I'm just giving my observation, but it appears that you create heaven by focusing on that, and things seem to go smoother. And I don't know if I call it heaven, maybe,
no,
but
it's still considered heaven. I mean, that's what I consider it. I mean, I have created a heaven within myself, within my life. And if we focus on the good, then we do not put ourselves down to hell. And the pain can drive you to hell and keep you there. And it's intense. You will not want to come back. But there is no reason to come to it. I mean, it's coming back to the self and finding peace within and relying on love and the peace that you have inside of you to bring you back up and to it helps me get through. I mean, to dwell on the pain and suffering creates a hell of a life, and there's no reason to keep yourself in that
how has how has your pain affected your interactions with others?
position. So even though I love you, and I've actually learned to, be more respectful and sure that every time that I speak to somebody, I want them to come to me from a place of love, because most of the time we have no idea what somebody's going through. We have no idea if, they're in pain, or, if it's emotional, physical, it doesn't matter. I mean, the level of suffering a person can be in can be dramatic, and they can still be wearing this mask that we cannot see. And so it's a humbling experience whenever you yourself are going through something, because then you make sure that you are being respectful to so many more. There's just, I mean, it raises the level of consciousness within you, and to all the rest of the people that you do.
Um, what advice do you have for somebody that's suffering?
My main advice is find that heaven in within. Oh, sorry. It's because I can't talk loud right now either. To find the heaven within yourself, to find the place of love, to find what makes you happy, and dwell on that and push yourself up through that, and just not let the other take you down. Because, like I said, if you dwell on the pain and the suffering, it'll drag you down, and it can make your life hell. And it is so easy to get stuck in that. So if you focus on the beauty and love and bring yourself up, then you're not having it'll help dull the pain. I mean, pain isn't just physical. I mean, whenever you're hurting, it becomes an emotional battle too. And in that, you have to find that beautiful place within yourself and emotionally pursue it.
I think I'm gonna try that. Break.
Yes, please.
I'm sorry. All right. So, I don't know what else to say myself. I will, allow you some time to ask any questions you might have for either of us. I I can I mean, definitely attest to we we definitely have a lot of power in the creation of our experience, and what we choose to focus our attention on definitely makes a difference. Um, I don't really know what else to say at this point, but moment to moment, it's open to what you want to create. It's open to um, new. It's a new, fresh moment, and it's hard to come out of that place when all you see is the hell that you're in. When all you see is all the pain, whether it is physical pain or emotional pain. I mean, you can greatly relieve your own pain, right?
I do. You can reduce it. I mean, I find daily by half, if not more, by putting yourself in that state of you're changing the consciousness within yourself and putting yourself in that place of love, and not dwelling on the hell that the pain can
Um, no, she has a serious level of pain, and actually, mostly of, or basically avoiding any pain relief.
I'm not. Ibuprofen occasionally.
She chooses.
Dulls your mind. Dulls your spirit.
And what do you mean by it?
The high powered pain medications dull your spirit with that, and they dull your mind. And whenever your mind is not preparing, then it is hard to pick up frequencies, hard to talk with spirit. I mean, I believe that pain medication is pushed more and more so that way we stay compliant because it numbs you. Nothing. And I choose not to be numb.
I would say it allows you to accept death. I mean,
It does. Population control.
so, I forgot what I was going to ask you. I lost. I have no idea. The is the pain there for a reason?
I mean, I think that everything is different. And, we're all different beings to an extent. We're all unique.
Well, as is every moment.
Yeah, as is every moment. But I believe that we each have a different type of thing that we go through, and I think that my pain is there to help me push above. I mean, to help me be able to reach others in a place that I wouldn't have been able to if I hadn't got to experience.
Well, do you feel like? How do you feel like? You feel like you have an ability to affect your life expectancy?
Yes, actually, I know I do. It's not a feeling. I mean, and we'll discuss that more probably in the next video. But I have actually affected my life expectancy, and it can be done with mind and sheer willpower and going above and being a higher being than what we perceive it.
All right. Well, I feel like probably about time to sign off. All right. Well, I want to thank you all for being here tonight and um, listening and just taking time out of your schedule to be here. It's Good Friday, Easter weekend, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Make the most of it and share love. I'm going to sign off.